All right, hello everyone, here we are. I wanted to clear the air here on some information revolving around the Golf Clash Notebook application. There's been a lot of posts either in Golf Clash Notebook or on my YouTube or in my Messenger asking me the same questions over and over again, mainly involving the wind directional arrows. So the main thing that you'll see here is, there's just some information that's going around which is just not true. And I have to keep repeating the same type of things over and over. So I just want to take this time to just kind of set the record straight and get everybody on the page, same page once again. So if I was to go to playlist, for example, you'll see tours 6 to 12 using Golf Clash Notebook app, wind directional arrows. So this playlist is about 14 to 15 hours of content, which is one stream in Tour 6, 2 and 7, 2 and 8, 2 and 9, 2 and 10, 2 and 11. The only thing I do in these streams is use the tool. That's it. So if you're trying to elevate your game and learn how to use it, this is the best resource as your starting point that you should be doing so. Similarly, if I was to go into the Golf Clash Notebook application here, Facebook group, so you'll see Golf Clash Notebook, you'll see announcements listed right there. One of the things that I've told people that I do here is in the announcement section, the most important threads that where I discuss teaching the game, they get added to the announcements. So here's Golf Clash Notebook, wind directional elevation. Here's the elevation reading help that you may need. But if I wanted wind directional help, this post right here, where it's typing wind directional tool, is very in-depth detailed. It's very text oriented and will help you get through those adjustments and teach you how to properly use the tool. And the biggest concept that you need to learn is to not use combination of other methods. So for instance, if I was to use Tommy's elevation guides, which are essentially just extreme over elevations, which we have to use because of the accuracy issues involving other ring apps. So you'll see that these inflated values, plus 25, plus 30, plus 35, anytime you see him use terms like that, they are ridiculous overplays. These are all, just values that you don't need to be using. And that's what the Golf Clash Notebook wind directional tool sets out to do, is make you not need to use those. So you can't use a combination of those values plus the wind directional arrows. It doesn't work, because what I did was I set out to put the time in to improve upon the data collection to where it's more of true elevation that you need to play. So when we're talking about true elevation, you're going to be thinking more like road grades. So for instance, if something's 5% downhill or 10% downhill, it's going to be more like a graded road. So think about how uphill something has to be for it to even be 10% is enormous. So you'll see that most of the ring adjustments are going to be 0, 5, maybe 10%, but 10% is going to be a very large adjustment. You'll see that you can play, 90% of this game on 0 or 5% because there's not very huge drop-offs in the game. They don't exist. What you want to do is you want to look at your starting point, where the tee is or where your ball rests, and then look at the net difference as to where you're landing the ball. Where the pin is really doesn't matter. You need to know the net difference between your start zone and your land zone. And you'll find that oftentimes 0, 5% will get the job done because the tool set out to get you better approximations. And the fact that you don't even have to use elevation ever and could get the ball somewhere close to the hole on a regular basis, it shows you the improvements that were made in the game by not needing to use these ridiculous numbers that other streamers are using, because those values are just extreme over exaggerations. And another thing on top of just those elevations, one of the important concepts is what is a true shot's distance is important, because you can't use the same way that you used to always use. And I used to have to play the same way because there wasn't any other content out there that was better. So until we developed something that actually factored in situations, we all had to do it. So I still know how to do that method. If you want to use those methods, using those strange overplay elevations, don't touch the wind directional arrows, period. You cannot use a combination of the two methods. It does not work. You have to get the better, real, true elevations and the Golf Clash Notebook app. There's no combination method that you can use. It will never work that way. And similarly with the shots distance, if I'm at max club and I pull down to mid club on my adjustment, so if I start at sniper max and I pull to sniper mid, what is the shot's true distance? Well, Tommy would tell you that it's max, and Tommy would be wrong. Because anytime that you pull the target back, that is no longer the shot's true distance. And if you want me to prove this, I can do that very easily for you. Take your rough iron, start at the max club line, pull it all the way back to your feet. Watch the ball guide from max to min club all the way back to your feet. You will see that the ball guide changes and the shot's distance changes, and it updates the shot arc each and every increment. It's not something that happens on a scale. It happens the entire time. You'll see that it's a continuous interval. It doesn't just happen at quarter club, 3/4 clubs. It always is changing. It constantly changes the entire scale. That tells you wherever you pull the target to is a shot's true distance. The Golf Clash Notebook tool, wind tool, with the wind directional arrows, factors this in. It needs to be the true shot's distance. In addition to that, you need to analyze the elevation as well. So it's a two-part system, which means that you can't use, one of the weird values that Tommy uses and the Golf Clash Notebook app. You can't use them both. You have to pick and choose one or the other. And in the Golf Clash Notebook app here, you'll see that I actually have a post which will help you to read this elevation as well. So this is in the announcement. It's always here. It's always going to be here. If I was to go to elevation reading help, this will help me read the elevations. It's a very informative post. Everything that I'm basically saying plus more is explained in the post. Supplementally, you'll see 7 photos in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see an exact photo of, the ball way above your feet, like hole 4, and the fairway dropping well below your feet, like hole 6, for example. And then here's a reverse camera showing you, that the tee was up here and you're landing down here. So you need to do, maybe like a 10-15% grade in this situation, because it's going to be shooting down to a lower surface. But it's going to be more like a graded scale, more realistic scale. It's not going to need to be that 40% overplay, because the notebook ring tools factor in wind. It factors in magnitude. It factors in not only direction, but magnitude as well. Over 200 hours went into developing and analyzing videos to prove the validity of Golf Clash Notebook tool. However, that means that you can't watch Tommy streams or other content creators use their elevation values and then use the Golf Clash Notebook wind direction. You can't do both. You have to choose what is more important to you. Do you want the better ring values? If you do, then you'll have to use the Golf Clash Notebook wind direction techniques. If you want to just keep doing what you've always been doing and using these crazy overplays plus 30% in situations and going that way, well, then you can do it that way too. Just don't touch the wind directional tool ever. And, another reason which has helped facilitate as to, why I keep getting the same questions over and over. I just want to go over this real quick. This is a Tommy video here.
Ding, 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 ding. Tommy, can you do a video on second bounce wind effect, Craig? Yes, I do work on a video like that. It will take a little while to get out. I'll still need to release the elevation video that I'm working with. The elevation video is going to come. Yeah, it's like if it's not coming. I do have a bunch of text guys that I need to work with first. But soon at least. But definitely. I know that's a big factor. I do have my own reference, even though, I just need to say that, and I'm going to say that on a different stream as well. I've been meaning to make a post about it, but in the Notebook app, there is a factor that can factor in the second bounce effect. I would never rely on that.
All right, so that's pretty much the gist of Tommy's post. I don't know if he's still talking about it, stuff like that in his streams, but it's very unprofessional. I hope he's moved on from that. I don't follow Tommy, but I get these, videos sent from me to time. That was around the Winter Major. And every time that he opens his mouth about Golf Clash Notebook, it's a very unprofessional thing to do because he in no way, was in the developmental stage. He's never tested for us. He shouldn't be speaking professionally because what he's giving you is completely falsified information. The Golf Clash Notebook does not and has never factored in secondary wind effect. It has never factored in second bounce data either. What it does is it gets you a better approximation to your first bounce, period. So anybody saying something otherwise is wrong. I'm the person who created the data to get you guys the better ring values. So I am professionally telling you that nobody else was influenced in what it is you see represented other than Ian, of course, who built the data for us. So I basically gave Ian the data and I said, hey, let's program this and get these values into the Golf Clash Notebook app. They're much more refined and better data. And once you get me, some examples of the code, because I wanted to do this, this, and this, I will then retest this and, make sure that it's very valid, it's very true. And everything that we've collected thus far pretty much proves that all the data that we're using is very accurate. Now, in terms of, is it perfect? And the answer that I would say is no, it's not. The improvements that need to be made, though, are so minute. It is very good data. And, I feel like we're probably looking at least another 500 to 800 hours of analyzing, writing exceptions. And, it would be ideal if somebody wanted to take the time and actually start analyzing videos and doing it in depth. People who actually want to, be in the game long term. This isn't a huge priority issue for either of us. We know that Golf Clash kind of has a shelf life, week in, week out. It's the same tournaments over and over again. They're not trying to do anything creative or developmental in any way that, gives us any security that we want to be involved with them professionally. So with that being said, I wished that other people would have taken my data and just said, you know what, I'm going to take the time and I'm going to make an improvement on Zach's data because I know that it's not absolutely perfect, but I know it's better than anything that you've been using because I know how to use both. So if I know how to use both and Tommy knows how to only play his way, why would he even want to comment? He's basically just trying to bring down other people's work, which is very unprofessional. And you'll see that my content, I never talk about Tommy. I don't bring up his name as in my streams, and yet he can't provide the same courtesy professionally. It just goes to show his level of maturity. So I'm going to just leave you guys with that. Do keep in mind everything that I mentioned about the tool, and hopefully moving forward, you guys find either this video or the resources that I pointed you in the direction of as kind of your go-to guideline as to how the app works and why it works the way that it does. So if you do have further questions, do post it, comments. I'm hoping, other guys can, contribute and try to help you guys out. But do know that, I'll try my best to clear up anything that may need to be supplemental to make things just a little bit more clear for you guys. But take care out there. Good luck with your golf clash. And hopefully you guys figure out everything there is to know about the wind directional tools for the Golf Clash notebook application. Good luck.